Hello guys, so today's question is that we have to indicate the structure and function of surfactant. Okay, so let us start with the discussion of surface tension then. So surface tension, what a surface tension basically is a retracting force, and due to surface tension there is generation of a collapsing pressure. This collapsing pressure can be represented by the Laplace formula, which states that this collapsing pressure is equal to 2 times of surface tension divided by radius. Radius is suppose of the alveoli, it is there. So let us draw some diagrams here. So yeah, so consider this as a large alveoli and this as a small alveoli, right? And here the radius is r1 and the radius is r2, and the surface tension actually works in this direction. Okay, the surface tension will try to collapse these alveoli, right? The force will be inward. Here also the same thing will happen, and this is a collapsing pressure. But notice that in case of the larger alveoli, suppose this is the large alveoli and this one is a small alveoli, so pressure is equal to, for the larger alveoli will be 2T, which will be different by R1, and pressure for the second one will be 2T, a smaller alveoli, by R2. So as you can see that R2 is less than R1, and therefore this is P1, this is P2. P2 will be greater than P1, and therefore smaller alveoli have a greater chance of collapsing, right? Therefore smaller alveoli have higher chance to collapse, right? And if they collapse, there will be atelectasis, and it is very difficult to reverse this collapsibility, right? If alveoli are collapse, it is very difficult to reverse that. Now let us go to the next part, that what will surfactant do. What surfactant molecule does at surfactant basically decreases the surface tension. Okay, so now suppose this is the small alveoli, sorry, suppose this is the small alveoli and it is lined by surfactant molecules. The surfactant molecules are here, and this time the force that the surface tension would exert is very less, so surface tension decreases drastically, and therefore surfactant, what it does is prevents the collapse, and prevents the collapsing of small alveoli. How it does that? Basically the structure of surfactant has a hydrophobic part and hydrophilic part, right? So this is the hydrophobic part, and this is the hydrophilic part. Now imagine there are the liquid molecules are present, okay, and there is attraction between these molecules. Okay, this attraction results in formation of the surface tension actually. Okay, and what a surfactant molecule will do is it will appear in this space. Okay, suppose this liquid is water, so the water molecules will be filled here also. This part is air and this part is liquid or water basically. So this part will only consider water molecules, and since the surfactant has a hydrophobic part, it cannot totally submerge into this portion as this part is hydrophobic. Only the hydrophilic part remains on the water surface and therefore prevents the attraction or decreases the attraction between the molecules on the top surface. So therefore if the attraction is reduced, the surface tension is also decreased, and therefore it also prevents the collapse. So this is how a surfactant molecule works. Now a few points about the surfactant molecules. So one thing we know that they reduce surface tension, therefore prevent collapse. Second, they have hydrophobic and hydrophilic parts. Third, they also prevent alveolar edema. How is that happening? Basically, we know that surface tension is a retracting force. And therefore pulls water from capillaries into the alveoli. So if this is not stopped, then there will be edema. But surfactant actually stops this portion and therefore also prevents alveolar edema or pulmonary edema. Same thing. Now coming to the last part, I will discuss about the main surfactants that are present. So surfactants are basically of two types: lipids, this is what we talked about, and proteins. The surfactant lipids mainly is composed of dipalmitoyl phosphatidyl choline or DPPC, okay, or lecithin. This is 90%, and the proteins only contribute about 10% and mainly have immune related role. Okay, the surfactants are secreted by the type 2 alveolar cells, and you have to remember that in the fetal amniotic fluid, if lecithin is to sphingomyelin ratio is greater than 2:1, then it is considered as a sign of lung maturation. And this is the last point I wanted to say about surfactant. Hope I was able to explain. Thank you for watching.